Good morning, class. Today we'll talk about another small but important family, that is Togaviridae. This family is important especially in case of equines, that's horses, particularly because the virus coming under this family is responsible for causing various encephalitic diseases. That's important for causing encephalitis in case of horses, and there were various outbreaks of equine encephalitis recorded in the previous years caused by the virus coming under the family Togaviridae. So this is an important family. Let's start with the introduction first. Now, viruses in the family Togaviridae. Toga in Latin, the word means clock, something related to clock. So these are enveloped RNA viruses, approximately 70 nanometers in diameter, and the symmetry is icosahedral. So these are RNA viruses. Till now we have talked about all the single-stranded RNA viruses. So it's also a family of single-stranded RNA virus that's enveloped medium size particles, approximately 70 nanometers in diameter, and symmetry is icosahedral. This is enveloped, so the envelope which is surrounding the capsid, it contains glycoprotein spikes as well, and is closely bound to an icosahedral capsid. So the envelope coating covering this is closely bound to the icosahedral capsid. So replication of the Toga viruses that contains positive sense single-stranded RNA, it occurs in the cytoplasm, and the nucleocapsid, they are assembled in the cytosol. So RNA virus replication, normally it occurs in the cytoplasm of the cells, and this is a positive sense RNA. Now, talking about the classification of Toga viruses based on the virion properties and serologic relationships, there are two genera that have been recognized in the family Togaviridae. The first one is the alpha virus, and second is ruby virus. This ruby virus is containing only one virus, that's rubella virus, the only one genus, and that's also if affecting only humans. The ruby virus is of humans only. So we are left with only one genera, that's alpha virus, which is important for our veterinary point of view, from our veterinary point of view. So that genus is your alpha virus. Another genus is ruby virus, that's the virus infecting only humans. Now there are 30 member viruses of the genus alpha virus, of which 6 of which they cause disease in horses, and to a lesser extent in other domestic animals as well. These 6 viruses and another 7 they cause diseases in humans as well. So this virus is also having zoonotic importance, so that's why it's an important virus to be studied, because it is zoonotic in nature. So we will talk about only the alpha virus. Now the genus alpha virus includes more than 25 species, a number of which they are important animal pathogens. Now alpha viruses are divided on the basis of genomic composition into a number of groups, including the first is Venezuelan equine encephalitis virus complex. Second is your Eastern equine encephalitis virus complex. Third is your Samlicki forest virus complex, and the fourth important is your Western equine encephalitis virus complex. So basically alpha viruses, they are divided on the basis of their genomic composition into the following groups. Now Toga viruses, they exist in geographically limited habitats in which specific mosquitoes and vertebrate hosts, they play a role in virus survival, geographic extension, overwintering, and amplification. Basically the virus will exist in only those habitats which are inhabited by vectors, especially mosquitoes. So basically this is an arthropod borne virus, arbovirus. This is counted under arboviruses. Arboviruses are those viruses which are arthropod borne, और their transmission cycle, जिनके transmission cycle में there is an arthropod involved. These are called as arboviruses, arthropod borne, in short arbo. Okay, so Toga viruses are basically arthropod borne viruses, and their habitat, they are limited. They exist in geographically limited habitats, specifically those wherein the mosquitoes and vertebrate hosts, they play the role in survival of this virus, alpha virus. Now the vertebrate reservoir host, they include wild birds, And mammals, domestic animals, and humans, they are usually not involved in the primary transmission cycles in nature, although they may play a role in geographic extension and amplification events that lead to the epidemics of this disease, of these encephalitic diseases. So basically जो इसके reservoirs हैं, the reservoir hosts, they include wild birds and mammals. And humans and domestic animals, they are usually not involved in the primary transmission cycles. Now, for example, in Venezuelan strain, Venezuelan equine encephalitis epidemics, a mosquito transmission cycle that is responsible for explosive spread of this virus among the equine population. So there is a cycle involving mosquito, horses, and mosquito. That is how the transmission cycle takes place. Now, the mature virions of alpha viruses, they are sensitive to pH changes, heat, detergents, and disinfectants, and they are not stable in the environment. So, all in all, this is a labile virus. That's labile in the environment. That's not so resistant virus. This is a labile virus in the environment. Alpha viruses, in common with certain members of the Flaviviridae, Rheoviridae, Rhabdoviridae, and Bunyaviridae, they are termed as arboviruses. So I have told you these are arthropod borne. These are termed as arboviruses, indicating that they are arthropod borne. This term, however, this has no taxonomic significance, but still they are counted under arboviruses. Arbo is that is a short term for arthropod borne. Okay, so alpha viruses along with flavivirus, Rheoviridae, Rhabdoviridae, and Bunyaviridae, they all are transmitted by arthropods. So these all are arboviruses. So do remember this term, arbovirus. Now, clinical infections. Domestic animals and humans, they are usually considered to be dead-end hosts of alpha viruses because they do not develop a sufficiently high titer of circulating virus to act as reservoir hosts. So basically these domestic animals and humans, they are dead-end host of these viruses. इनमें ज़्यादा titer that's not seen of the circulating virus. There is no high titer seen in these species, in domestic animals and in humans. A number of important equine diseases, they are caused by infection with the members of the genus alpha viruses. The three equine encephalitis viruses, they are basically your Venezuelan strain, eastern and western strains, which are confined to the western hemisphere, and they are transmitted by mosquitoes. So this is an important point. There are three, basically this alpha viruses, they are causing encephalitis in horses, and there are three encephalitic viruses. Further, they are divided into three viruses. They are basically three strains. They are causing eastern equine encephalitis, western equine encephalitis, and Venezuelan equine encephalitis. And all the three, they are transmitted by mosquitoes. There is another virus, that's a Gita virus, which occurs mainly in Southeast Asia and in Australia. And a number of outbreaks of this disease caused by this virus that have been recorded in Japan. So Geta virus is mainly confined to Japan, and it also occurs in Southeast Asia and in Australia as well. But इसके जो mainly outbreaks हैं, they have been recorded in Japan. Now this is a table showing alpha viruses of veterinary significance, and we'll talk in detail about these viruses. That's Eastern equine encephalitis virus. The main vector involved here is mosquito, that's Culicetum, and Aedes species. These two species are the main vectors of this virus. And infection endemic hai in passerine birds which frequent freshwater swamps of eastern North America, Caribbean islands. इसी तरह से we have Venezuelan strain wherein the vector involved is your Culex mosquito. And infection is endemic in small mammals in Central and South America. Outbreaks भी होते हैं इस disease के in horses, donkeys and humans in endemic regions, and occasionally there is spreading to southern USA. Third is your western strain, Western equine encephalitis virus. Again the vector is your Culex and other Culex species, Aedes species, all these are involved in the transmission of this Western equine encephalitis virus. Infection of passerine birds widespread in America. It causes mild disease in horses and humans. So these are the three we'll talk about in detail. Geta virus, that's also transmitted by mosquitoes, that causes sporadic diseases in horses in Southeast Asia and Australia. which is mainly characterized by fever, urticarias, and edema of the limbs. Subclinical infection also is that's reported in pigs. This occurs in pigs as well. So these are the main alpha viruses of veterinary significance. Now we'll start with equine encephalitis in detail. The viruses which cause Venezuelan, Eastern, and Western encephalitis, they are basically important in Americas. These three viruses, they produce similar clinical signs. Although infection caused by the virus of Western encephalitis, it tends to be milder. Rest all Venezuelan, Eastern strains, they are comparatively harsh than that of Western strain. Western tends to be milder, but almost they produce similar clinical signs. Now we'll start with the epidemiology of equine encephalitis, wherein epidemiology is very important if we talk about these alpha viruses or equine encephalitis. Epidemiology is important, and we'll talk separately about all the three strains, epidemiology of all the three strains. The equine encephalitis, it shares some common epidemiological features. The peak periods of these diseases, it coincides with times of maximum vector numbers, usually in late summer following heavy rainfall, wherein the vector population or vector multiplication is very high. So the peak period will be that only, wherein the vector population multiplication is high. The regional distribution of the viruses, it is related to that of mosquito vectors. Number of clinical cases, they drop dramatically when the vector number decreases due to cold or drought. So all those viruses which are arthropod borne or arboviruses, their transmission cycle and their titers depend on the replication and production of these vectors, wherein the vector multiplication is very high. It depends on the regions or seasons where vector multiplication is high. Now first we'll talk about the Eastern strain, Eastern equine encephalitis virus, which occurs principally in the Atlantic coast areas of North America. The virus is maintained in the cycles of infection involving passerine birds and the irrigation ditch mosquito, that's mainly Culiseta melanura, which inhabits freshwater swamps. So this is basically important disease in North America. And the cycle, a virus is maintained in the cycles of birds and irrigation ditch mosquitoes, that's Culiseta. Following the infection, a high titer of the virus, it develops in many wild birds without the evidence of the disease. High mortality rates have, however, been recorded in pheasants, emus, and whooping cranes. Virus can be transmitted between pheasants by pecking and cannibalism. Periodic epidemic outbreaks of the infection in wild birds, which may lead to the infection of humans and horses. It involves additional mosquito species such as Aedes sollicitans and Coquiletidia perturbans, which feed both on birds and on mammals. So there are periodic epidemic outbreaks in wild birds as well, and this can lead to infection in humans and horses. Infection, it usually results in sporadic diseases in man, horses, and pheasants. Epizootics, which tend to occur in autumn, disappear with the arrival of first frosts. Overwintering mechanisms for virus maintenance, they are unclear, although wild birds, they are considered to be possible reservoirs. So if we talk about the Eastern strain, that's mainly common in your North America. The viral infection cycle, that's maintained between the wild birds and mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the main, and they're in, if we particularly talk about Eastern strain, there are 2-3 species of mosquitoes involved, that's Culex, Aedes, and Coquiletidia perturbans as well. And the cycle, that's maintained between the wild birds and mosquitoes. Now another strain is your Venezuelan equine encephalitis virus. Isolates of this virus, they comprise a complex of 6 subtypes. Epidemic forms of Venezuelan equine encephalitis, they are caused by 2 highly virulent subtypes. First serotype of the virus, first AB, and one C type. These two are the highly virulent subtypes of subtype है, first serotype है, but इसकी भी further 2 subtypes हैं, that's AB and C. Other subtypes, they are considered to be either non-pathogenic or they are of low pathogenicity for horses. Now the viruses, they are maintained in the sylvatic cycles involving rodents and mosquitoes. Eastern के case में that was involving wild birds and mosquitoes. Herein this is a sylvatic cycle wherein rodents are involved and mosquitoes, mainly Culex species, are involved, that too in swampy habitats, swampy areas. Now, epizootics of this Venezuelan strain, it occurs regularly between 1962 and 72 in northern part of South America and in Central America, extending it one stage as far as Texas. So this is the geographic distribution or the epizootics of Venezuelan strain. Following a quiescent period of 20 years, a limited outbreak of disease occurred in Venezuela in 1992, followed by an extensive epizootic in Venezuela and Colombia in 1995. So there were various outbreaks or epizootics of Venezuelan strain of this equine encephalitis especially. And the horses which are inoculated with the virulent subtype of this strain, they develop a viremia of sufficiently high titer to allow the transmission by feeding mosquitoes. So if we talk about the Venezuelan strain, the infectious cycle is your sylvatic cycle wherein rodents are involved, and the transmission, it takes place between rodents and mosquitoes. And Venezuelan strain mein main mosquito species involved is your Culex species, and there are various epizootics and outbreaks recorded in the previous years of this Venezuelan strain. Now, third is your Western equine encephalitis. Although this virus complex has traditionally occurred in the USA, west of the Mississippi, it is also present in many other parts of American continent, and infections tend to reoccur in certain areas. The cycle of infection, it involves mosquitoes, usually Culex tarsilis. So this species is main mosquito species, that's Culex tarsilis. This is responsible for the infectious cycle of Western strain, and indigenous wild birds in which the infection, that is inapparent. So herein the cycle is revolving around the indigenous wild birds and Culex tarsilis. That's the mosquito. Horses are infected incidentally, and they are basically the dead end host because level of virus in the blood, it remains low. So they were in the dead end hosts, they have usually very low titers of the viruses. So herein horses, they are incidentally affected and they are the dead end host of this virus. Epizootics of Western strain is very rare. They are very rare. Overwintering mechanisms of the virus, they are unclear, but they may involve birds, reptiles, or mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are all involved in all the three strains. Mosquitoes are involved. But if we talk about Venezuelan strain, rodents are involved in the transmission, rodents and mosquito cycle, and the rest of the two have wild birds and mosquitoes as they're involved in their transmission cycle. But epizootics of this Western strain, they are rare. Plus Western strain, it is comparatively milder, it tends to be milder as compared to Venezuelan and Eastern strain. Now the pathogenesis of the disease. Following inoculation by a feeding mosquito, because it's an arthropod borne on mosquitoes, they are involved in the transmission. Mosquitoes, they will inoculate the virus into the host. Viral replication will occur nearby the site of entry of the inoculation site pe, and in the regional lymph nodes. So replication will occur near the site of entry and in the regional lymph nodes. Thereafter, viremia will develop, ranging from barely detectable to high levels, and is accompanied by fever. Wherein the viremia is there, the first and the foremost sign is your fever. Now, when the disease is severe, the virus invades the central nervous system, resulting in neuronal necrosis and perivascular lymphoid cuffing. That means encephalitis or inflammation of the brain is there. After that, when the disease is severe, that means high titer of the virus is there, then only the central nervous system, it gets affected, resulting in all the neuronal damage, necrosis, and perivascular lymphoid cuffing. So basically what happens in the pathogenesis is inoculation of the virus by a feeding mosquito, then virus will replicate in the nearby site of the inoculation and in the regional lymph nodes. After the replication of the virus in the cells, viremia will develop. Viremia is indicated by the development of high fever. If the high titer of virus is there, or when the disease is severe, virus will invade the central nervous system, resulting in neuronal necrosis and perivascular lymphoid cuffing. So this was about the pathogenesis of the disease. Now the clinical signs that will develop. The diseases caused by the three strains equine encephalitis viruses, they are clinically similar. So clinical signs will be almost similar in all the three strains. Incubation period that may be up to 9 days. Clinical signs which usually last from 4 to 9 days. They range from mild fever and depression to fatal febrile encephalomyelitis. So basically clinical signs they range from mild to a highly fatal state depending upon the level of infection. Neurological signs they include photophobia, blindness, head pressing, circling, ataxia, and inability to swallow. Affected horses they will exhibit severe depression with low carriage of the head and a wide based stance. So this is noticeable feature in the affected horses, that they will have a severe depression, and severe depression is indicated when they carry their head very low and there is a wide base stance of the horses. Terminally, the animals they become recumbent and semi-comatose stage is there. They are in semi-coma stage with convulsions prior to death. So that will somehow result in the death as well. That's a fatal disease, and convulsions will appear prior to the death. Now the case fatality rate is 90% for eastern strain, your eastern equine encephalitis. Fatality rate is 50 to 80% for Venezuelan strain, and that is 20 to 40% for western strain. So we are getting that highly fatal strain is your eastern strain, wherein fatality rate is 90%. Then uske baad second number pe we have Venezuelan strain, and the milder one is your western strain, wherein case fatality rate is low, that's 20 to 40%. Now the diagnosis part of the disease. Clinical signs, they are always suggestive. Clinical signs along with the history of previous cases of equine encephalitis in the same region, that is suggestive of the disease. However, lab confirmation is usually required. Lab confirmation is for definitive diagnosis. Now, due to the possibility of human infection, care must be taken during specimen collection, because it's an it's a zoonotic disease, so care must be taken during specimen collection. Virus isolation, it provides a definitive diagnosis. Isolation that's carried out in cell culture or in the suckling mice. So both ways we can culture the virus, in the cell culture or tissue culture, or in the lab animals, especially in the suckling mice. Then whole blood or serum collected during the pyrexic phase of the disease is suitable for virus isolation. So this is a suitable sample for virus isolation. That's whole blood or sera. Then post-mortem samples, they include brain or cerebrospinal fluid that can be collected at post-mortem. Now when Venezuelan equine encephalitis is suspected, isolates they should be typed in order to distinguish virulent from non-virulent subtypes. Then an immunohistochemical staining technique for the detection of eastern antigen in fixed brain section, that has also been described. And the diagnosis of western or eastern strain, that's usually based on serology. For serological testing, paired sera samples they should be collected to demonstrate a rising titer of the virus. Suitable testing methods, they include ELISA, plaque reduction neutralization assay, hemagglutination inhibition, and complement fixation tests. So all these are serological tests which are suitable testing methods for diagnosis of western and eastern strains especially. Now the last is your treatment and control part of the disease. Although supportive palliative treatments they may be beneficial, the prognosis that's generally poor. Control that is based on vaccination of the horses and implementation of measures which are aimed at reducing mosquito population. So herein the control measures mainly involve vaccination. The first thing is vaccination always for control of any disease, and second is your management practices, and here in which the diseases which are basically arthropod borne or mosquitoes wherein the mosquitoes they are involved. So measures should be aimed at reducing mosquito population. And if we talk about the vaccines, monovalent, bivalent, and trivalent vaccines they are available. Vaccines for eastern and western strain they are inactivated vaccines, And there is a live attenuated TC83 Venezuelan vaccine that provides effective protection, and it has been successfully used to prevent the epizootics of Venezuelan strain. So there is a live attenuated vaccine for Venezuelan strain, and inactivated vaccines are available for your eastern and western equine encephalitis. Then a vector control measures, they include spraying of vector habitats wherein the mosquito population is multiplying or replicating their need. We need to spray such areas. We need to destroy, or destruction of mosquito breeding areas should be there. There should be use of insect repellents and stabling of horses at night in insect proof buildings. So managemental practices include here vector control measures, wherein you can go for spraying vector habitats, you can go for destroying their breeding areas, use insect repellents, and horses stable, they should be in the insect proof buildings. So these were the control measures for equine encephalitis. So this was all about the alpha viruses and the diseases caused by alpha viruses. This is very important family, Togaviridae. It can be asked in your exams, because there it's first and foremost is that's zoonotic in nature, and there are various epizootics and outbreaks recorded in the previous years in horse population, equine population of these three strains. Do remember these three strains: eastern, western, and Venezuelan strain of equine encephalitis. The important point is that's an arthropod borne arbovirus है. Alpha virus is your arbovirus, arthropod borne virus, and mosquitoes, they are involved in the transmission of this. So this was all for today. Now we'll meet in the next week. Till then, take care and have a nice day.